This is a Sports Catastrophe production. Hey there, Heather, ho there, it's Jeff Cutastrophe. Welcome to another Sports Catastrophe birthday boy. And the birthday boy for today, November the 18th, is an NFL/CFL quarterback who was iconic in both leagues. It's amazing how many quarterbacks actually start out in the CFL and go to the NFL. Not that many, but this guy proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that you can start in the CFL, do well, and then the NFL will pick you up and all that. Now, unlike Doug Flutie, this guy started in the CFL, not go from NFL to CFL to NFL. So anyway, this guy played for Edmonton in the CFL and played for Houston, Minnesota, Seattle, and Kansas City in the NFL. He held a lot of professional records, CFL/NFL records. He won 5 Grey Cups in a row from 1978 to 1982. The Canadian Championship and all that. And twice named Grey Cup MVP. Excuse me. Anyway, Moon was inducted to the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2006, becoming the first black and the first undrafted quarterback to receive the honor. He is the only player inducted into the Pro Football and CFL Hall of Fame. It's Warren Moon, who is now 66 years old. Warren Moon was the middle child among 6 sisters. That's funny. Now, Warren's dad died when he was 7, so Warren had to cook, sew, iron, and housekeep to take care of the family. He was a one-sport guy because he knew that he would have to help his siblings out. So he was a quarterback and all that. So he would go to West Los Angeles College for a couple of years. And all that. Anyway, the University of Washington's offensive coordinator figured he needed to sign Warren Moon right off the bat. And Moon was adamant he wanted to play quarterback because, it was above average. He didn't have the size, speed, or strength to play other positions. So in his 3 seasons with the Huskies, in his first 2 seasons, he didn't do that well. However, in the 77-78 season, he shocked everyone as he got Washington to win the Pac-8. Well, it was known as the Pac-8 before Arizona and Arizona State jumped into that thing and made the Pac-10. And got them, as winners of the Pac-8, automatically to the Rose Bowl against the Big Ten champions, that would be Michigan. And Michigan got shocked 27-20, one of the biggest upsets in Rose Bowl history. Warren Moon did fantastic in that game. He was named Rose Bowl MVP. And little did people know that this game actually ruined Michigan's chances to be the national champion because January 2nd, 1978 was one of the awkward days in which the top 4 teams in college football all went down on the same day, meaning that the number 5 seed Texas Longhorns. Was Texas or Notre Dame? I think it was Texas. No, it's Notre Dame. They were number 5 headed into those New Year's Day games. They actually won the national title because everyone else lost, including Arkansas taking down Oklahoma in the Orange Bowl. Anyway, Moon figured he was going to be a late-round NFL pick and have a limited opportunity. So before the NFL draft, he decided that he would need to sign somewhere that he would be appreciated as a quarterback, and that was Edmonton. So he went to the CFL. A lot of people were shocked. Although it wasn't as shocking as Rocket Ismail days before the NFL draft signing with the CFL's Argos in 1991. Anyhow, so Moon would be a star quarterback, although he would have to share the quarterback capabilities with Tom Wilkinson, who also was a very good quarterback. But it worked out. He helped Edmonton win 5 straight Grey Cups, or the Canadian Football Championships, 78, 79, 80, 81, and 82. Now, I know a lot of people said, the CFL, it's so easy and all that shit. I'm like, how many teams have won 3 in a row since 1982? I think Edmonton's the last team, if memory serves me right, to win 3 in a row. That's hard to do. Like, there's a lot of parity in the CFL sometimes. Yeah. So, even though there were 9 teams in the thing, and 9 teams now, I mean, it's hard because, you have other teams with, running attacks and defensive attacks and all that. Moon won the Grey Cup MVP in both the 80 and 82 championships and got to 5,000 yards in 1982 passing, becoming the first quarterback to do that, NFL or CFL. Of course, Dan Marino was the first NFL guy to get 5,000. In 1983, he put up 5,648 yards of passing, was named CFL MVP. The only problem was that Edmonton didn't do so well. They were 8-8. It was shocking. They were 5-time CFL champions, and then they faltered. They were crushed by Winnipeg in the Western semifinal. So Moon, in 6 years, had a 57% completion percentage, over 21,000 yards and 144 touchdown passes. He was 9-1 in postseason games. Well, obviously, if you won 5 in a row, you can't lose again. He was actually named 5th of the top 50 CFL players of all time in 2006. And Moon decided to go to the NFL. There was a bidding services, and Houston was going to be the starting team. Houston got it, mostly because Hugh Campbell was his head coach in Edmonton, and he was the head coach with the Oilers. So he did his job. So Moon would be going to Houston. He had a bad adjustment period. However, Hugh Campbell didn't help Houston out. But when Jerry Glanville came to be head coach of the Oilers, then things started happening. The Oilers looked pretty good. And in his first postseason game in the NFL, Moon helped Houston beat Seattle in overtime in the wild card round of the 86-87 playoffs. Moon would sign a 5-year, $10 million contract extension, which at $2 million made him the highest paid NFL player at the time, 1989. Gee, I wonder what it would be like to be the highest paid player at $2 million. Like 80% of the players make $2 million in the first place. So anyway, Moon led the league in passing yards in 1990 and also touchdowns. He threw for 527 yards against the Chiefs in December 1990, the second most in history, and I believe that still is the second most ever. The record is North Van Brocklin in 1951. Anyway, he would lead the passing yards total in the 91 season, setting records with 404 completions and 655 attempts. Unfortunately, Moon would get hurt for the 92 season. But the Oilers still won 10 games and would face Buffalo in the first round of the AFC playoffs. Ironically, the Bills went to Houston on the final week of the 92-93 season to play. And then that's when Jim Kelly got hurt, so Frank Reich had to come in. Warren Moon was spectacular for the Oilers. He threw for 4 touchdowns in the first half, and Houston had a 35-3 lead. Unfortunately, for some strange reason, Moon faltered. The offense faltered, and Buffalo just came back to win. Moon did help the Oilers tie the game on a last-second field goal. That's what people forget about that classic comeback in 1993, was that Buffalo had a 38-35 lead, but Houston tied it. To go to overtime, unfortunately, Moon threw a bad pass early in overtime, and Buffalo came down the field to tie the game, to win the game. Moon did pretty well for himself. I mean, 371 yards for 4 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Okay, that's great, but the offense just sputtered. They should have ran the ball more, technically. In the 93 season, Houston got off to a 1-4 start, and Moon was benched a couple times. But thankfully, he came back and helped Houston win 11 straight at the end of the year to go 12-4, have a first-round bye, face Kansas City, in which Moon did okay, but unfortunately, the Chiefs made a big fourth-quarter comeback to win the divisional round. He helped the Oilers win 70 games, Moon did. It was a team record until Steve McNair broke it in 2004. He still is the Oilers/Titans franchise leader in passing touchdowns, passing yards, attempts, and completions. Moon was traded to Minnesota because this was starting with the free agency thing. So Moon left for Minnesota. I thought he was a free agent with Minnesota. But yeah, he was there for Minnesota, hoping they would be a good team. Unfortunately, he would have a broken collarbone for the 96 season. Brad Johnson was the quarterback, and Moon was cut because he didn't want to take a pay cut to serve as Johnson's backup. So he went to Seattle as a free agent and made the Pro Bowl with them, spending 2 years with the Seahawks. And then he went to Kansas City to be a backup in 1999. He would only play 3 games with the Chiefs. But you know what? He still did okay. So anyway, his numbers are unmatched because when you combine the CFL and NFL stats, it's just amazing. And all that. Moon's NFL numbers were great. 49,000 yards in the NFL. He almost got 50,000. He almost did. 291 passing yards and 22 rushing touchdowns. He would actually have the most fumbles in NFL history, Moon would. Unfortunately, fortunately for him, Brett Favre broke that record. So he went to 9 Pro Bowls and all that. He was actually a broadcaster for the Seahawks for TV and radio for a while. And yeah, he got to the Hall of Fame in his first year of eligibility. The Titans retired as number 1 at halftime in 2006. Moon was a broadcaster for the Seahawks when they won the Super Bowl in 2014, and he got a Super Bowl ring. Cool. Unfortunately, he would have troubles with sexual harassment and was suspended from his sportscaster position. But yeah, the CFL, he helped them win 5 titles. In Houston, he only won 102 games, lost 101, so he was almost 50-50. But 291 touchdowns, 233 yards. Unfortunately for Moon, his postseason would suck. He was 3-7 lifetime in the postseason. So that wasn't really the best thing he could do. Moon holds a lot of records for the Oilers/Titans. Moon was married for 20 years, unfortunately, and a divorce. But yeah, great guy. Like, for both the NFL and the CFL. And you can't teach that. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond.